All right, today we're diving into an idea that's going to sound, well, totally backwards. It's called the law of reversed effort. And it's this strange, powerful principle that for some of the most important things in life, the harder you try to get them, the more you absolutely guarantee you're going to fail. I mean, think about it. We are all taught to hustle, right? To grind, to just push for what we want. But what if that's the exact advice that's keeping you feeling stuck or anxious or just unfulfilled? Let's unpack this whole thing with a pretty dramatic life or death example. Okay, picture this. You're in Navy SEAL training, and you're about to do an exercise they call drown-proofing. It's intense. They tie your hands behind your back, they bind your feet together, and then they drop you into a 9-foot-deep pool. That's it. Your only job, survive for 5 minutes. And yeah, as you can probably guess, most cadets fail miserably. So here's the first crazy paradox of drown-proofing. Every single instinct in your body is screaming at you to fight, to kick, to struggle like mad to keep your head above water. But with your arms and legs tied up, it's literally impossible. All that desperate flailing just burns up your energy and makes you sink even faster. So how in the world do you survive? Well, you have to do the exact opposite of what your brain is telling you. You have to let yourself sink. Just go all the way to the bottom. Then, once you're there, you give a light little push with your feet, and you let the momentum just carry you back up to the surface. You grab one quick gulp of air, and then you do it all over again. You survive not by fighting the water, but by surrendering to it. And this brings us to the second mind-blowing lesson. This whole exercise, it actually turns your own survival instinct against you. The more you panic, the more you desperately want to breathe, the more oxygen you burn, and the more likely it is you'll pass out and drown. Your own will to live actually increases your chances of dying. This isn't just about physical strength. It's a test of pure emotional self-control. Okay, so that drown-proofing story is pretty intense, I know. But this strange paradox, it applies to so much of our everyday lives. So let's zoom out and look at a framework that helps us actually see how more effort can sometimes lead to way less reward. You know, I think most of us walk around assuming that effort and reward have this simple one-to-one relationship. We think, hey, if I just work twice as hard, I'll get twice the results. This is what we can call the linear curve model. And look, this model is true, sometimes, but really only for mindless, repetitive tasks. You know, things like filling out paperwork or maybe cleaning your bathroom. In those cases, yeah, 2 hours of work gets you double the results of 1. But let's be real. Most of life is a lot more complicated than that. A much more common model is the curve of diminishing returns. This just means that the more you do something, the less rewarding each extra bit of effort actually becomes. Just think about money for a second. The difference between making $20,000 and $40,000, that is life-changing stuff. But the difference between making $120,000 and $140,000? It's not nearly as big of a deal. This applies everywhere. Friendships, productivity at work, even eating chicken wings. That first one is incredible. The 20th? Not so much. But then there's a third curve, a kind of Twilight Zone model that actually governs some of the most important parts of our lives. This is the inverted curve, where effort and reward have a negative relationship. The more you try, the more you fail. This, right here, is the drown-proofing curve. The more effort you pour into staying afloat, the faster you sink. This model kicks in whenever what you're doing is purely psychological, when it's an experience that exists entirely inside your own mind. So what kind of things live on this crazy inverted curve? Well, pretty much all the big ones. The more you chase happiness, the more it seems to run away. The more you try to act confident, the more insecure you actually feel. The more you demand love, the less you're going to get. Chasing these things head-on is like trying to catch smoke. It just pushes them further away. So if trying harder is the problem, then what's the solution? And the answer isn't just to give up. Instead, ancient Taoist philosophy offers us a much more elegant path, the art of effortless action. This idea is called Wu Wei. Now, the literal translation, non-doing, is a little misleading. Wu Wei is not about being lazy or just sitting on the couch all day. It's about letting go of your rigid ideas about how things should be, and instead of fighting against the current of life, learning how to flow with it. It's a smarter, much more effective way of getting things done. Nobody, and I mean nobody, said it better than the legend himself, Bruce Lee. Water is soft, right? But it can carve through the hardest stone, not with force, but with persistence and by adapting. It doesn't fight the rock. It just flows around it. That right there is effortless action. But why do we struggle so much in the first place? I mean, why does this inverted curve even exist? To get that, we have to go a level deeper and really look at the psychological root of all our desperate striving, the illusion of the separate self. The philosopher Alan Watts argued that our deepest anxiety comes from this fundamental mistake. We feel like we're this isolated ego, a little me trapped inside a bag of skin, facing this huge alien universe out there. But Watts called this feeling a hallucination. The way we talk even shows this illusion. We say things like, I came into this world, as if we're just visitors who showed up from somewhere else. But that's not the real story, is it? We didn't come into the world, we came out of it. Just like a wave comes out of the ocean, every single one of us is an expression of the entire universe. We aren't separate from it, we are it. And here's the crucial point. When we're desperately chasing something like happiness or confidence, our mind is literally a dog chasing its own tail. It can never ever succeed because the chaser and the thing being chased, they're part of the same thing. The very act of chasing creates the distance that makes the goal impossible to catch. Okay, so we've looked at the problem, that inverted curve, and the deep reason for it, the illusion of the ego. So what do we actually do about all this? Well, this brings us to one final, really powerful idea: action without attachment. This idea is at the heart of so many wisdom traditions. It's all about separating the process from the outcome. You still do the work, of course. You still go after your goals. But you let go of that desperate, ego-driven need for a specific result. You learn to find fulfillment in the action itself, no matter what it brings. The author Aldous Huxley just summed it up perfectly. Real mastery, he said, comes from this paradoxical art of doing and not doing. It's about blending activity with relaxation, effort with surrender. It's about learning to just get out of your own way so that the results can happen naturally. Look, this isn't about giving up on your dreams. Not at all. It's an invitation to go after them in a smarter, more harmonious way. So the final question to leave you with is this: what might you finally achieve in your job, in your relationships, in your own head, if you just stopped trying to force it?